Welcome to Talkin Bengals, your home for innovative insights into all things Bengals. Follow Talkin Bengals on Facebook and Instagram at Talkin Bengals or listen on your preferred podcast app. Now, let's start talking.
Hello and welcome into the first off-season edition of Talking Bengals. So Burnsy's already having camera issues. We got a nice up-close front of his hand, and I do like what he's wearing. It's baseball season, just like our title from last week. So how are we doing, Burns?
We're hanging in there. We're just working through technical difficulties like we are every week. So
I think we're going to send you some kind of system to make your connection better. I don't know what it is, but we're going to figure it out at some point.
Is my connection bad on the camera? Because I'm using my phone this week, so I thought maybe.
Yes, no, it's still bad. I think we're just going to have to basically send you a hotspot that's to satellite internet or something. Hoop, how we doing?
I'm doing all right. I think Elon Musk has something that might fit where he lives. So way out in the boonies there. So
you may want to look into. I mean, Tuscaloosa is kind of a weird place, so it is an interesting place to be with Alabama. The Alabama internet's great, but let's not keep bashing Alabama. Let's just get straight into looking at the pointless bowl, the toilet bowl, whatever you want to call that game. It was a win, good for the Bengals. I mean, they dominated for 3/4 of the game, so that's great. But you would really hope that a team playing mostly their starters and a quarterback that played half the season would be able to dominate Jeff Driscoll and a whole bunch of flunkies. I mean, I really felt like it was the episode Chappelle Show where it's like, it'll be me and the revolution against you and your band of flunkies. That's what it seemed like, and it just dominated. You could shoot the J, make it all work. We're off the rails already. Sorry, everybody. We didn't even make it like 2 minutes in, and we're doing Chappelle Show. Right? Welcome to off-season Talking Bengals. But we'll recap the Pointless Bowl, some cheers and jeers here. So we'll let Nicholas take it first.
So I'm going to start off with the cheers. We made a whole bunch of backups look like a whole bunch of backups. I think my score prediction was pretty close. I don't know if you guys recognized the score there and looked at score predictions and my whole prediction of the entire outcome of everything. But I think I was pretty good. I'm doing pretty good this year on score predictions. But, we'll see what next year brings, especially when, you have Joe Burrow in the game. And hopefully, we'll get to it later. Maybe we might even have a new offensive coordinator that might be able to call plays. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so 3 cheers. Definitely making, a bad backup group look like a bad backup group. Jeers, we let them score twice. Shouldn't have even let them score once. I don't know. Thank God the season's over. The way this season went, it was like living in a nightmare. Burnsy, what do you got?
So my cheer, the Bengals won. That's it. That's all I have. Yeah. I mean, like Casey said, it was kind of a pointless game. It didn't matter. There wasn't anything on the line. I guess the cheer also would be, the Bengals fans coming out and showing their support for the team, even though it meant nothing. There was no playoff implications on it. It didn't change the seeding for the Browns. Just going to show everybody love. So I guess that would be my 2 cheers. Sorry, I took a second. Are we doing
you get
jeers?
3, don't you?
Well,
we have jeers.
We're gonna go jeers because I don't know if Nick did one or not. So my jeer, I guess, is that I was channeling my own version of Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat. We were in a cave during the entire game. So I didn't watch it. So
Well, see, you have better things to do. It was literally the Pointless Bowl. I've never been so calm watching a Bengals game. I was like, there's literally no point. Like, why would I get upset? If they win, they lose. It literally changes nothing. People say, well, they have a winning record. Great, they have a winning record, and they're picking last out of every team that missed the playoffs. So that sucks. My cheer, I'll give it to Joe Mixon. He got his 100K bonus or whatever it was there. Good for you, Joe Mixon. Get your 2 touchdowns. Get that money because who knows where if you're going to be playing and getting money with us next year. And if it's not with the Bengals, you're probably going to get closer to a league minimum contract somewhere else. Just being honest. Veteran running backs at his age, even though he's not super old, probably not going to get much above league minimums going to another team. So good for you, Joe Mixon. I'd like to see you back just because you're a great leader. If you can step back into the second or third running back role, great. Otherwise, I don't see you coming back, man. Cheers. Is Dax Hill a real player? That's a legitimate question. Is he a real player? Does he have any idea how to play safety? I will admit, I was a safety. I'm not going to say I was good, but I understand you don't undercut the receiver at the goal line. Like, what in the heck are you? Your one job as a safety is nobody behind you. And the fact that it is a high-pointed ball at the goal line and you run in front of the receiver and make Jeff Driscoll look like Peyton Manning, come on now. That's just – we're going to get into it more in another episode because this is not a review of the secondary, but I have deep concerns at the safety position. I will just put that out there as, a foreshadowing for one of our next episodes. But that would definitely be my jeer. Oh, yeah, there we go. The Pointless Bowl is over. Let's move into real news because we're into the offseason. Ted Karras did win the Walter Payton Man of the Year. That is fan-freaking-tastic. And the Chiefs fans are probably still accusing the Bengals fans of cheating somehow like they were last week. I don't even know how that's possible. But whatever. We're going to not worry about that. We're going to focus on the joy. Nick, talk about Ted Karras.
Ted Karras, what a heck of a guy. I mean, just shows up to a school, just out of the kindness of his heart, man. I mean, literally the depiction of what Man of the Year is about. He does it on and off the field. He's a leader on and off the field. Just the character that he does bring to the team, to the city. I mean, he represents the Cincinnati Bengals and what the Cincinnati Bengals organization has always represented in the community. Being in the community, being positive. I mean, you couldn't represent a team or a sport in any better way than what Ted Karras does. We're very blessed and lucky to have him on our team, and blessed to have him represent the Cincinnati Bengals being the Man of the Year this year. Congrats, Ted.
Burns, you want to take the next topic or say anything about Ted?
No, just happy for Ted. He going to our Bengals Who Dey History. I have some stuff that I want to talk about with that, and I think that's when we get to talking about that. Ted kind of emulates that person, especially what he is doing. The Cincy hat thing is a great thing. I need to pick one up. Me, I love my hats. So I'm gonna have to pick one up at some point. So congrats, Ted.
Hey, Bernsey, just go ahead and pick me one up and just count it as my birthday present for this year.
So the thing about your birthday present, it goes to my oldest. So I apologize.
Oh, so it's going to be late, just like you, right?
Yeah.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'm curious. So, Ted Karras offered to buy people tattoos, like pay for people's tattoos, if he got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. There's like 30 or 40 people, or maybe more than that now, who said they'd get a Cincy hat tattoo if he wins. And so he saw that and offered to pay for them. That's going to be interesting to see on social media here soon. What do these tattoos look like?
Well, Ted, I want to know,
crazy.
will he come to Alabama and pay for it? Because I will do it. Put it. I don't know where I'll put it, but I'm itching for
right above your backside.
Yeah,
right
we don't want to
waist.
see your tramp stamp. We're still disappointed. Zach said he was going to show up in his Jake Browning's girlfriend outfit. So
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I think it's packed away somewhere.
So since it's the offseason, let's just go ahead and talk about random stuff like that real quick. The fact that that's all that's been on my social media feed since Sunday cracks me up because it's really not it's what you'd wear skiing. or something. They put a jacket over it. I get it. It's very tight. It's a one-piece thing. But the fact that the internet went crazy over it,
I think they were leaving for Aspen after the game.
it
Everybody loves
kinda reminded
California.
me-
Everybody loves California this time of year.
I don't know, Lloyd. The French are buttholes. Trying to keep it PG for our fan base here. No, but seriously, if you got it, flaunt it, whatever. Thank God it's not Taylor Swift or whatever her name is, Mahomes lady.
Brittany.
God bless. She is awful. I cannot stand to watch her. I would rather watch paint dry. No, but seriously, good on her for feeling confident enough to be able to wear that.
Well, my thing was, I was getting a national championship when AJ McCarron was there with his girlfriend at the time, and Brett Musburger just kept going on and on and on about her. They kept going back to her every so often. You're like, is the camera guy just bored with this terrible game?
AJ and Katie aren't married?
Oh, they are, but it was his girlfriend at the time. So
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was taking it back in time. And that's what he kept saying, his girlfriend, she's the hottest person.
Funny that you say that, though. That's what they got Brett Musburger off of calling games now. So, he lost a legend because he couldn't control himself over AJ McCarron's wife.
But do you know who I blame for that? Whatever idiot put Notre Dame in the national title game. That Notre Dame team was not. I know, you're going to cry. But you knew dang well they did not deserve to play the Alabama team. I was putting a small JV high school team out there against Alabama.
Alabama was really tough that season. I'm not gonna lie. There's just nothing that you can do about that. So
they probably could have beaten some of the NFL teams that year just because they were just pure dominant. Pure dominant.
Hey, let's just be honest, okay? Since we're on college football, okay, Alabama is tough almost every year.
Yeah.
And let's just be frank. Michigan earned their spot as a national title winner this year. Okay, forget all the crap that happened with Harborough. Forget all that, right? They earned their spot in the national title game. They earned that win. They beat a very good Bama team.
What did they win? 6 games without their head coach this season?
I mean, I'm going to just be honest with you. They beat a very good Bama team who beat Georgia, who is a very good Georgia team. I mean, you earned it. You earned it. Congrats, Michigan. I hate saying it, but congrats.
But see, next year you don't have to worry about that crap anyway because they've expanded the playoffs as of next year. Good. So there's going to be enough teams to where nobody can complain. That's the biggest. I've stopped watching college football for the most part because it's nothing but whining. Constant. Well, we should be ranked 5th. We should be ranked 5th. I love that they're going to have a playoff. They're going to be able to – the best teams will make it there. And if you don't, it'll be like the NFL. I mean, the Giants won Super Bowls at, 9-7 twice? Hey, they're the best team in football. If you can't beat a 9-7 team, that sucks for you, man. It is what it is. You just got to deal with it.
So what did they open it up to, Casey?
It's 12? I want to say it's 12 teams.
Yeah, it's 12 teams. 12 teams.
They should have all of the conference winners for the bowl eligible conferences.
So the Power 5 plus whatever they want to call the smaller conferences.
Just have all the bowl eligible conferences and have them all play together in a playoff. I mean, you already have 6 extra weeks designed into the college football.
I mean, that Liberty Oregon game was bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm now a new student of Liberty, but it wasn't close. Bo Nix and Oregon, why they matched them up, that was just to embarrass Liberty. That's why they do all of those crazy matchups like that.
Well, the bowl season
also brought Liberty in quite a bit of money.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're now talking college football. Welcome to the off season. But it's not what it used to be. Bowl games overall suck. I mean, I don't know if it sucks 5 times, so we're not PG-13. Sorry. But they're not exciting. That Georgia game, what the heck was that? Georgia, Florida State, we're just going to opt out. We're
They
just not gonna
literally
show it.
played their third string quarterback and their third string everybody.
Yeah, I mean, to me though, if I'm an NFL scout, you just walked out on your team. I know you didn't make the playoff, so if we don't make the playoffs, you're just gonna be a piece of crap. Like that doesn't, to me, doesn't show you're a good player.
If they had
It's
that
not.
matchup with Michigan, they're still losing as bad as they lost to Georgia. Like, I hate to admit it, I've never been a fan of Michigan of any kind. And yeah, it's just it is what it is. Michigan was just that good this year. So Florida State would have had it, and I think even if they played Washington, if they had the 3 seed, which is what I predicted that they were going to get, I don't think they're matching up with Washington very well either. I still think they're losing to Penix by at least 2 touchdowns.
Well, let's pivot back to the NFL. We've had our college football still. Maybe we'll call that moving forward the college football snapshot and just talk something random. But I do like the idea of Nick talking earlier about we got to keep track next season of who did what score predictions and actually recap who's winning. Like we'll do the prices
Don't
right.
worry, I won.
Nah, I don't know. It's pretty close.
Yeah, I won. It was me.
Says the guy who has to use his hillbilly calculator to do in basic math.
No, I use a regular calculator. It has addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Thank you very much.
It's called his iPhone.
Hey, this thing is like as smart as your darn TI 87 or whatever that was back in high school that
I
nobody
have
could
one of
figure
those
out.
laying around. I have one of those laying around here.
I think you are the crouchety old man of the podcast now. The gray in your beard just keeps getting thicker. You mispronounced Harbor. What'd you call him? Harborough? Like
Harborough. I don't know. I can't say the darn word. Jimmy.
Harball. Jim.
Whatever.
Harborough. That's what
I was thinking
Harborough.
Joe Burrow. Screw you.
What
Anyways.
is the
Now he's
brand of
saying, I don't
cigarette
need
company?
darn dang things over there.
Darn it,
go
get
down
off
to the
my
top.
lawn, you young kids.
We're gonna go watch the Talladega 500 down here, boy.
Oh gosh, we are not even anywhere close to the rails here. We're so far gone. We're gonna bring it
Hey,
back.
you young
Okay.
whippersnappers, let's bring it back in here.
Hey, why don't
So
you play with
Brian
your beard
Callahan.
some more?
Just for Men is going to sponsor us next week.
You're just jealous,
Anyways.
Zach. Anyways.
1,000%.
Back to live action. Brian Callahan has now had 2 requests for interviews by the Carolina Panthers and the formerly known San Diego Chargers. I guess they're in Los Angeles, but nobody comes to watch them play. So who knows if they're even a real team. But he's got offers to the worst team in football and to the most underachieving quarterback in football. So what do you think, Zach? Where should he go?
Well, if those are his 2 choices, I'm probably going to the Chargers because there is a lot of upside with Justin Herbert. He hasn't lived up to his potential by any means, but Kellen Moore could do much with Dak. What was he going to do with Justin Herbert? So I don't know. We'll see. Anywhere but Cincinnati will be good with me, I think. Wish him well, but we've got to figure something out with our offensive staff. Yeah. Carolina, I think you got a lot of upside with Bryce, but I just think Bryce is too small. So I'm not sure going to Carolina with that is the best. Plus, you don't even have a first round pick this year because you traded it away to go get Bryce Young. So, yeah.
That looks so bad in hindsight. CJ Stroud literally in 4th or 5th place for MVP voting, won the division in the playoffs, and you picked Bryce.
Nick, what do you think?
All right, Nicholas, what do you think?
No, I was just waiting for Casey to bring it to me, with his old man haircut, if you can call it that.
Yeah. It is what it is. No better luck than you.
I don't want to rub it in or anything, but anyways, I think that Brian can go to out to San Diego or LA, whatever heck it is. The Chargers would probably be a better fit for him than Carolina. Justin Herbert, I mean, he's probably going to be maybe a little better than what Andy Dalton was when he was with the Bengals. maybe on par with Andy Dalton. Brian Callahan can deal with that, I guess. Just best of luck to you, Brian. I hope you do well out there. Let's bring in somebody who Zach Taylor can trust to call plays and let him just be a head coach. That's all I care about. And then Frank needs to go.
But according to the rumors, nobody's going to go unless they're promoted. So Brian Callahan may leave, but that means Dan Pitcher's going to be your offensive coordinator, which I'm okay with. I think Dan Pitcher has a better future than Brian Callahan does as far as play calling. And if you have a success as a head coach, I think Dan Pitcher would actually be a better guy to have. Quarterback's coach right now, so move him up to offense coordinator. Maybe we can make a Super Bowl run. But I mean, something has got to change. The fact that they're like, nope, we love this staff. We're not going to make any shuffles, anything to make change at all. That just blows my mind. Something has to change because it sucked this year. It was very inconsistent. It was up and down. Sucked is my favorite word today, I guess. But they're up and down, inconsistent, not very pleasurable to watch most of the time because it didn't make sense. You're like, you did really well, and then you get the crap beat out of you by the Steelers. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But yeah, Justin Herbert, I'm trying to think. Zach, be thinking of a good comp. I don't think Andy Dalton's the right one because Andy Dalton didn't have the physical abilities, but he is disappointing. I'm trying to think who would he be the most similar to that should have been a great quarterback.
Jeff Blake.
Yep, Jeff Blake was 5'1". Good Lord, leave poor Blake out.
Can you stop, Nick, Casey, or Nick, whatever your name is?
I'm gonna have to mute him here in a minute.
For real.
He sounds like Sean Connery on Celebrity Jeopardy. Dolly Parton. It's not the category.
Your mother.
Yeah, titles, Mr. Connery.
Oh gosh.
There's a good comp for Justin Herbert. There's a good comp for Justin Herbert out there somewhere.
I love Lamb.
Disappointing.
I think Eli is a good comparison, personally. Now, granted, I know Eli won 2 Super Bowls, but he didn't win those Super Bowls all on his own. I think they have the same amount of talent, and if you would have given him, if you could intertwine them, I think they're about the same talent-wise. Because Eli well, not just that, they're they have the same arm strength. They are about the same speed, getting around and mobile, because everybody knows Eli was more mobile than Peyton. But I don't. He's a really good quarterback, probably top 10 in the league. Just I don't get it. I don't get it with Justin Herbert. So,
all right, just to defend Peyton Manning here really quickly, okay? He could scamper. All right. You definitely scamper.
Nick,
His feet would move
think
so
him and
fast,
I
but
have
he
the
would go
same.
nowhere.
I think him and I have the same 40 speed, and I was like a 4.9 as a wide receiver. That's not good. No, that's not good.
You're an 8'5", Nick. So 8'5" is your 40 time.
Hey, 5'1", okay, get it right. I was a lineman though, so that's actually not too terrible.
I have zero idea what my 40 time is. I honestly don't remember this, but it wasn't fast, I'll tell you that.
It was 10.
It was faster than you. I will say that much. But not great.
It was.
Yeah. That's not saying much. And the bird's telling us get back on topic. Anyways, back to live action once again. So, talked about Brian Callahan, talked about Ted Karras, talked about college football, talked about Justin Herbert and how he's not Andy Dalton, he's Eli Manning. Let's get into some awards here. What do you say, fellas? Should we get into our awards?
All right. So, as long as it's not Natalia.
We're going to get into this. All right. So, with the awards, we have our Yay, we like you awards, and we have the We are disappointed in you awards. So the unanimous ones, I'm just going to go ahead and call off some of those because there's no reason to overly discuss them too much. We'll give a little bit of comment. I'll pass it to one of us to talk about the ones we agree on, and then we'll just keep moving on. MVP, somebody picked other than Trey, didn't they? Because they're wrong. Nope. Okay, good. So Trey's the MVP. Who wants to talk about him? 1, 2, 3. Burns, you get Trey.
All right. Well, I was kind of disappointed to come out of the cave and see that Trey didn't actually take the league sack record. But then I saw some comments from our group chat saying that we had pulled him from the game. I think we should have left him in. I get it. You want to try to preserve as much as you can, especially when it's a pointless game. But he was right there. And when you're playing against a bunch of secondary guys, especially in Cleveland, I think he could have got 3 sacks or 3.5 sacks or whatever he needed to take the title. Not let TJ Watt take it. Definitely the most consistent, like we talked about last week, and definitely made some questionable decisions throughout the league or throughout the season. But overall, phenomenal time, phenomenal player. Can't wait to watch him in 2024.
So we'll move into Offensive Player of the Year. I picked Jamar Chase, second most receptions tied for all time. Brownie points, if you two can tell me who are the other two people, who has the most and who else is tied for second?
Ocho Cinco.
No.
What was the question? I'm sorry, you cut out on my end.
Jamar Chase has 100 catches. That puts him tied for second in Bengals history. Who has the most? Who's tied with him?
Carl Pickens.
Which one is he? What spot?
They are tied.
Yep, tied with him.
Okay. And then who has the most?
Yep.
Let's see.
Don't tell me it was Chris Collinsworth.
No, it wasn't Collinsworth.
Oh, thank God.
No, I'm gonna go AJ Green.
TJ Hushmanzada, 112 catches in like 2009 or 10. I can't remember which one. Or 8. It could 8, 9, or 10, somewhere in there. But he leads in receptions. Carl Pickens was 96, had 100, and now Jamar Chase in 2023 has 100. So he's my Offensive Player of the Year. Nick, who you got?
I got Jake Browning. I don't care that he came in kind of halfway through the season. He picked up right where Burrow was leaving off. Came in hot. Kind of felt like there was nothing we were really missing, except for a little bit of the scrambling ability of Joe Burrow and the little bit more decisiveness that Burrow has with being able to thread the needle on some of the pad he does. But Jake Browning coming in, being able to pick up and lead the team to was it 3 straight victories? And then unfortunately we lost to the Steelers. That's a defensive blow, to be honest with you, in my opinion. But I mean, Jake Browning coming in, playing the second half of the season and coming in the way that he did, just you can't ask for anything better than that. I'll put him as Offensive Player of the Year all day, every day. Kind of runner-up would be maybe like a Joe Mixon. If he would have had more carries, he would have had 1,000 yards 6-7 games into the darn season. But we just don't use them. Anyways, Bernsey, what do you got?
I'm gonna go Mixon. I harped heavily on that. Doing the 4 out of his 6 seasons with us now, he's had 1,000 yards rushing. I think he's definitely the Offensive Player of the Year for that. But you can't go wrong with Chase or Browning because without those 3, I think we're not in the position of being 9-8 and in the hunt for the playoffs at the end of the year. So different talent levels, obviously, between Browning and Burrow, but did a phenomenal job. But Mixon, consistent. We just wish we'd have given him the ball more. Maybe he would have had 2,000 yards, maybe 1,500 yards. I don't know, but let's run the football some more. 2024.
Heck yeah.
No running the football. It's against the rules. The Bengals.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. You just shut your mouth.
It's against the rules in the NFL. Apparently, is you can't run the football anymore. We have to be electrifying. We have to sell tickets. We have to sell PPR in fantasy football. So, but you want to win football games, run the football.
Yeah. So moving on to Defensive Player of the Year, Mike Hilton. That's who I picked for Defensive Player of the Year because I'm not going to get put Trey twice. Great, best slots corner in the entire league. If you disagree with me, go ahead and at me. I don't care. He's the best. He's a great blitzer. He gets tackles for loss. He doesn't give up a whole bunch of big pass plays. There you go, Mike Hilton. Zach, who you got for Defensive Player of the Year?
I had Trey. That was my guy because he just, like I said, he's been consistent all year round. So I think me, Josh, and Nick are all on that board. So
Go ahead,
I had
Nicholas.
Reader. Reader was a force, on the run defense. They wouldn't run his way. So kind of hard to get tackles when they're not running at you. And then when he goes out, you understand just how important he was.
last 3 games.
And you see the value that Reader brings to that defensive line. And you can't measure that. You can't measure it until he's gone. And when you see that he's gone, good God. And when he was gone, I'm not going to put Trey there, Defensive Player of the Year because I gave him MVP. Mike Hilton definitely up there. I was kind of battling in between Hilton and Reader. Casey, you picked Hilton, so I figured I'd go with Reader. So that way 2 people would get some good recognition there. Obviously Hendrickson's just a heck of a player, but all 3 definitely deserving a Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah, moving to Special Teams Player of the Year. There was only one right answer, but we'll say there's an okay answer to it. It should have been a unanimous Money Mac, even though he was at times this year mediocre Mac, but overall he had a good season. When you look at the entire body of work, he had some misses early in the year especially, but they're all from 50 plus. So inside of 50 plus, I don't think he ever missed one, if I'm recalling right. He was perfect from inside of 50. And so next year, just don't miss any. Just be perfect outside of 52. There we go. That's all you got to do, Money Mac. But I know somebody put a very short punt returner. I'll let him talk about him for a minute.
Well, let's just be honest, okay? He literally had the first punt return for a touchdown in how many years for the Bengals? You got to put him as the most valuable there. Money Mac, I'll get into that a little bit later. But still, right? Special Teams Player of the Year, I'm not going to put a kicker. I'm going to put somebody who can really do some real damage with change in field position, getting those extra 10, 15 yards on some returns that he made. Really made a difference in some of the ball games that we played. So going with Jones, whatever, Casey, you can just shove your hand in sand. I don't care.
So I know next year we're going to come up with a flashy name for the award show. I don't know what we're going to go with yet. But most improved player for me, and this is one I think we all have somebody different, so it's good. Drew Sample, hate on that if you want to, but he was a good blocker. He caught a career high in touchdowns. He made some impact catches that weren't touchdowns. He literally ran over Mitch Wilcox, which gave us one of our best reels we had of the season. Kudos to Zach. But yeah, just what could you expect? He was a 2nd-round pick. Everybody's hated on him his entire career, say he shouldn't have been a 2nd-round pick. But I don't remember him other than him and Jonah forgetting to block TJ Watt. Other than that, he didn't have a bad play this year, I don't feel like. So, Zach, who do you got?
So I have Cam Taylor-Britt, but I'm going to go a different route.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go Tanner Hudson. Coming in, being the tight end when we needed him to be the tight end. Now, granted, I think Samples was a great option and did a lot of good things when he had the opportunity. But I think Hudson challenged him in a lot of ways because Sample was like, no, this is my job. And I want to go get it because Nick's favorite tight end of the year did not live up to the hype.
Hey, I'm going to say that Irv Smith was most improved. I mean, he started off the year with some drops that we did not like, some fumbles.
It was one.
Yeah. It's a pretty big one, right? And did he fumble the ball the rest of the year when he got it? No, he did not. So that's a big improvement, right? That's a big improvement to fumbling the ball on the goal line. He hasn't done it yet. He didn't do it the rest of the season. So Most improved? Irv Smith, you got it, buddy.
So I was
All right.
actually going to say that's how irrelevant Irv Smith was, is because none of us put him down for any of these, because he literally disappeared off the face of the roster. Like, was he even on the team anymore? You literally got replaced by a guy who's been a career practice squad player who played well. Tanner Hudson played really well, but career practice squad guy, and you're what, like supposed to be a top 15 tight end? That's not good. It's not good at all. All right, let's move into
Don't talk bad about my guy, Casey.
This is the wah 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 section here. So we have an MVP. We also have an LVP, the least valuable player. And for me, I couldn't pick one. It had to go to two people. But they play almost the same position. Dax Hill and Nick Scott, both safeties. I don't know if you still say the free versus strong anymore, but dumpster fire. Absolute dumpster fire between those two. Like I talked about earlier, I don't know if Dax Hill's a real person or even knows how to play football. I'm not sure. So, anyways, wah, wah, wah. Nicholas.
Least valuable player was Brad Robbins. Come on. How many times do you get a chance to punt the ball in an NFL game? You practice all day, punting the football. I'm going to be honest with you. I punted in high school. I've had punts that went really badly, right? I think I had a backwards punt at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Okay?
Yep.
All right. All right. Let's just be honest. All right. Punting, it's kind of hard when it's not your main job, right? When you're not wearing the proper cleats to kick the darn ball. Brad Robbins has the proper cleats to kick the ball. On top of that, I was a lineman trying to punt. Okay, come on, get out of here. All right, Brad Robbins, he's a punter. That's his only job. That's the only thing he was slotted to do. That's what he's getting paid to do. How do you not average 40 yards per punt at least? That's abysmal. To be a professional punter and not average that. I think I could probably average that, and I'm not even a professional punter.
Well, see, I think you keep saying he's a punter. I think what you're trying to say is he's finding a new job next season. That's what you're trying to say.
He might be filling out job applications at Burger King or McDonald's or something like that.
Somewhere, I mean, maybe you go back to his alma mater. Michigan just won a national title. Maybe he'll go be a coach there or something. I don't know. He forgot how to punt. Burns, are you still with us? So
Burns forgot how to connect his internet.
His least valuable player was so bad he couldn't even talk about him. Goodness gracious. So I guess we're going to move on to offensive disappointment of the year. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, he's back. I guess we'll let him talk about his LVP. He's got to have a bad connection. He's our least valuable player tonight. You can talk about
100%.
his least valuable player.
So my least valuable player or valuable starter, I'm going to go Jonah Williams. Did not impress me a lot. Gave up a lot of crucial plays. There was a lot of good that happened within the offensive line, but I think he was the least consistent player on the offensive line, I believe. I don't know. I could be completely wrong in saying that. So, but I don't grade offensive linemen very well. I just grade them based on how well the quarterback is standing up. And I feel like he gave up way too many.
That's typically how linemen are graded, Bernsey. So I think that you're pretty spot on there.
Fair enough. I'm gonna try and connect this back to my headphones.
Yeah, we're going to have to bring back our buddy Sean from Sumer Sports here at some time to actually give us what the stats really look like. And if you've looked at our Facebook page, I did put up their playoff preview, let you know what they predict, what the averages have shown, what you should be looking for in all the different games. But yeah, he's the stat guy. We just pretend to like stats occasionally, except for Nick, because Nick
I
likes
don't.
stats.
Yep, I definitely do not like statistics.
All right, so moving to offensive disappointment of the year. I hate to do it because he's probably not a Bengal anymore, and he's meant so much to this franchise, had so many big plays. But Tyler Boyd, I don't know, it's just an off year for him, Both of the receivers in contract years were inconsistent. They'd have great plays, look awesome, and then they drop once it hit them in the face mask against the Texans. That should have been a game-winning touchdown. Yesterday, it didn't matter when he dropped that wide open pass, but that's just salt in the wound. Yeah, two, yeah. But the one was literally, he's getting a touchdown. It is the most basic routine catch you could ever make. Hits him in the hands and just drops. That's just the kind of year it's been for Tyler Boyd. I hate to say it, but he didn't show up in the big games a whole lot. He had the big catch against the Vikings. He had a couple good catches versus other teams. But on the games where, Chase is out or Higgins was out, was he even an impact? Not really. So it's one of those where you're like, okay, because really, if you think back to the Vikings game, he had that great catch. What else did he do? Not a whole heck of a lot. So to me, Tyler Boyd, we know you're a better player than that. If you're not back in Cincinnati next year, thank you for everything you did. We'll discuss that more when you do sign somewhere else, if you do. But, man, I know you're better than this, and I hope you have a great bounce-back season next year. Nick, who you got?
Tyler Boyd, we love you. Thank you for what you've done with the Bengals. My offensive disappointment of the year, and I hate saying it because he can high point the ball better than anybody in the league when he's on, T. Higgins. He couldn't stay healthy all year. When he was in the game, he'd have drops where it literally hits him right in the hands. And just, it wasn't T. It wasn't the T. Higgins that we know and love that we're used to. He had a few spectacular plays. T's definitely, going to be a number one somewhere else, or share the number one spot with Jamar in Cincinnati if he stays. Definitely another talking point on another podcast here. But this year, T. Higgins, I thought he was going to come out and have a huge year this year, being opposite of Jamar Chase. And, man, I was just disappointed with the year he had. Bernsey, what do you got?
I'm going Irv Smith Jr. And I gave the man a lot of love earlier in the year.
You're the disappointment of the year.
especially, I defended him, things like that. But like Casey was alluding to earlier, like as the season went on, like where was he? I did see him in games, and if he was, we weren't utilizing him. We weren't running it to him or throwing it to him. I didn't even see him in passing blocks. We have Wilcox out there at some point. It's like, shouldn't Irv be out there? Like that was the reason why we brought him in from Minnesota. So that's my offensive disappointment of the year. Think he's super talented. If he comes back next year, maybe we get a little more use out of him when Joe's healthy. But yeah, it was not the 2023 Irv Smith Jr. I was expecting.
Yep. He's got to go. That's on another podcast. That's probably one of the either next week or the week after. We'll get to who's staying, who's going. I guess we'll do our positional break. We'll talk about here in a little bit. But moving on to defensive disappointment of the year. What did I say after the Chiefs game? Who did we need to cut? Jermaine Pratt. Good Lord. And Logan Wilson looked just as bad last week, missing another easy open field tackle where two people are running at one person. And I get it. I've never had to try to tackle Patrick Mahomes. I'm never going to have to try to tackle Patrick Mahomes. But I'm also not getting paid millions of dollars to tackle Patrick Mahomes. So there's a difference there. People say, oh, well, whatever. Inside, outside, two people should be able to take him down. And the fact that it's not just one play, Pratt has been terrible in running defense. He's been terrible in pass defense. Did he have a sack this year at all? I don't think he did. The biggest play he had was when he knocked the ball away a couple times, which is great. Thank you for the fumbles. But unless you're doing that multiple times a game or at least once a game, you're getting burned so many other times. Like I can't even call him a regression like we'll get to in a little bit. He just was terrible. I mean, I don't know if there should be a spot on this team for Jermaine Pratt. Take the dead $2 million or whatever it is in dead cap and take the rest of his money and spend it somewhere else. Very harsh, but fair. Bernsey?
My defensive disappointment of the year goes to Dax, man. Like I thought he was gonna have a breakout year with Jesse Bates and oh my god, I did this last week too.
Von Bell.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, not Le'Veon Bell, Von Bell going to Carolina. Just filling their role and filling their void, and it just didn't work out. So my guess is gonna be let's go get a veteran safety to go play that position. I know we're going to talk about this later, and move him over to maybe nickel or quarter. I don't know,
What
but
about dime?
that's what I meant. I said quarter. I'm an idiot.
Or
God.
$50, Sacagawea, Susan B. Anthony for those
Oh
old
my
people out
What
there.
about the JFK $50?
He said that.
I said $50, yeah.
It's the JFK $50. I was being more specific. It's okay.
I'll do you one better. We're gonna get the sand dollar, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it would be useless, just like him. Oh man, I'm gonna have so many people at me if they ever actually listen to our podcast. Anyways, Nicholas, go ahead. We digress, which is all we've done this whole.
My defensive disappointment of the year, I'm just going to put it out there, the entire defensive backfield. Like, all right, you have the front line that lines up on the ball. Then you have the people who cover any kind of a receiver. All of them was the disappointment. Like, all of it. Cam Taylor-Britt might have been the only bright spot there with Battle showing some form of like, okay, he might be good. Everybody else just, wow, just complete regression. And I think we talked about it, what was it, last week? Maybe about like Jesse Bates and Bell being gone and missing that it factor with the leadership on defense.
That was last week. Yeah.
Wow. That was, I mean, it's huge. Huge having that it factor, having that leader on the field. Defensive backfield, just God bless America.
It's bad. It is definitely bad. And we're going to keep the bad going here with the special teams disappointment of the year. I have a feeling Nick has a different answer because he's once again wrong. But the only answer is Brad Robbins. He was terrible, atrocious. Nick's already talked about him for his least valuable player, but just terrible, awful. When people are saying we want Drew Chrisman back, you suck. I can't put it any other way. Like all the tweets I saw, all the Facebook posts, maybe we should call Drew Chrisman. Do we not remember why we dislike Drew Chrisman? We want Kevin Huber, maybe get him out of retirement. At least we know he's going to give us a consistent 40 to 45 yards every punt because he's older than dirt at this point. But hey, it's better than Brad Robbins hitting the ball at the 50 and it bouncing back to our own 45.
Casey, did you see Drew on Instagram
No.
trying to when Burrow went down, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do at quarterback, and he was like, hey, I used to throw quarterback in like high school or something like that, and he was all over Instagram just like showing all these things, and he's like, oh, I'm still here in town, so you don't have to go far to look for your next quarterback. Yeah,
I can throw the ball over that mountain.
Literally, Uncle Rico. We just watched the
I want to ask
today
because he used to be when he was on the Bengals. I'm guessing he still does the job. He was like a DoorDash guy or one of the other food delivery services. How awkward would that be if Drew Chrisman's delivering your food during the Bengals game this season? Like, oh, hey, it's right in his face. But, I mean, I've never been an NFL football player at all, so Drew Chrisman's still cooler than me, I guess. So sorry we're hating on everybody so much. Maybe we should just call this the player hater podcast. We do it like Chappelle's show again.
Disgruntled fans.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, Casey.
That's what we're doing next year for this award show. We're all gonna dress like it's the player hater ball. We're gonna come out there and just like, y'all got so much hate, and we'll just do that. There we go. We're gonna call these the player hater awards for the second half. Anyways, back off track. Somebody keep me on track. That's why I have you guys here.
All right, special
Now.
team disappointment of the year. I'm going to go ahead and just say this is a specific part of his game. Okay, I love this player to death. I think he is very consistent to the point where when he's out there, I am very much just not concerned about him making field goals inside of the 50, but Money Mac 50 plus. Consistency at 50 plus and under 55.
Nick, let me see
his
you go kick it 50 consistently.
I never could. But Money Mac called himself Money Mac because he was consistent. You know, and you don't give yourself a nickname like that without being on the money. So my special teams disappointment of the year was the consistency for him over 50 yards. I expect him to make more of those. Now, I will give him grace. Anything over 55, that's a maybe like a 15 to 30% chance he's actually going to make it, depending on wind and grass and moisture and all that other stuff. I mean, but 55 in, I expect Money Mac to make that. And I think that is a good expectation to have with him. And I feel that's the first time in history I've ever felt confident with a Bengals kicker kicking 50 plus ever. So
I was pretty confident when Doug was out there
for extra points. But Money Mac 50 plus next year, work on it, get consistent, man. You got it, dude. If you listen, we love you.
Well, I still remember Neil Rackers, so as long as it's not Neil Rackers, I'm okay.
We love Neil. Get out of here.
Shane Graham.
Or Neil Rackers. Hey, Shane Graham, whoa. Shane Graham set the record for most Bengals field goals in one game. Of course, they were like all 35 are in. But hey.
And he kicked the game-winning field goal Sunday night against the Miami Dolphins. So get out of here, Bernsey.
Just saying. I take Mac and Pelfrey over Shane and Neil Rackers.
I would too, but still.
What are we doing here? NBA Jam with kickers?
Jesus. I had to pick something.
Come on. Brad Robbins was the obvious answer.
We could have just went unanimous, so we could already be off this topic. We could already be off this topic because we just would have went unanimous, and you just had to be different.
Yeah, I did because I'm different. Okay, different is not bad. All right,
okay,
I
biggest
went
regression
valuable with Brad Robbins, and Casey decided to say that there's no repeats. Okay, no repeats. All right, General or Colonel or Major, whatever you are.
Oh Jesus! Whatever ranks you want to come up with. Anyways, I called myself Field Marshal. Get it right, whatever. But
Fire Marshal,
maybe. Anyways, biggest regression, Logan Wilson. What a surefire of a season he had. Everybody's like, oh, he had so many interceptions. The interception against the Browns. Who wouldn't catch that other than Tyler Boyd? Sorry, Tyler. But who else wouldn't catch that one that literally fell into his lap? It was almost as easy as B.J. Hill's interceptions. So, I mean, he's just playing from a guy who was last season and the season before, we thought he's a top 10 linebacker, to playing like barely in the top 60. It's not good. So, Logan, we hope your best years are not behind you. I know Nick's crying in the shower every day because he's like, oh, Logan Wilson didn't have a good year. But hopefully he comes back next
about
year.
my guy, okay?
All right, since I talk bad about your guy, go ahead. You can have your biggest regression.
Jermaine Pratt. Last year had an electric year. Bull crap call in the AFC Championship. Should have never been called. But Jermaine Pratt this year, he just didn't have that electric year that he usually has. And maybe age, maybe he was battling some injury or something and just toughen through it. I don't know what it is, but he just did not have that I was expecting him to have. Logan Wilson, he still had some good plays. Jermaine Pratt, one or two strips, but I can't remember anything else spectacular. Bernsey.
My biggest regression, I think, is going to be the offensive line in general. And the reason I say that is that we continuously go get better talent each year, and we're getting the same results, whether it's Browning or Burrow behind the center. They were just on the ground way too much. And then you go look back at Burrow when at the beginning of the year when he's dealing with the calf injury, we couldn't even keep Burrow up then. Now, granted, Burrow likes to get out of the pocket and try to be mobile and all of those kinds of things, but when you know he's not going to be as mobile, your one job is to keep him up. And that week 2 game just solidified it for the biggest regression. Just going, yep, same thing. Doesn't matter what talent we have. We're here doing the same stuff.
Common denominator, Frank.
Yeah, I agree. Frank's common
Common
denominator.
denominator, Frank.
The really alarming one too there, Burns. You talk about early season, yeah, it looked like crap, but they all played and started every single game. So to me, the biggest concern was Kansas City. I don't know if Jake Browning's going to bring us back in that game or not, but playoffs are on the line, and he's literally dropping back and screaming his head off, running for his life, just chucking the ball up. And you knew they were going to bring the house. You have one job, and you can't even stop them for half a second. So
Where they
I don't know.
rushed 4 in that on that last play, right? Like it wasn't even like they brought 5 or 6. I think they only brought 4,
Yeah, I
and
think
they
so.
still got to him.
Not even got to him immediately.
Yeah.
Like no one even tried to stop him. It's like, hey, I see you, coach, come on in. But since we finished on the disappointments after giving our awards, maybe next year we'll mix it up and go one then the other back and forth so we can end on something happier. But that is why, just like I promised you, Bengals fans, the Who Dey history is going to be more upbeat, have some more positive outlooks. And what can be more positive than the greatest player in Bengals franchise history, the best left tackle of all time, the undisputed champion of like the offensive line, period, Anthony Munoz. Fantastic player, awesome guy. We're going to let Nick talk about what it means being a former lineman, how awesome Anthony Munoz is. And then Burns is going to have some great stats about just how impressive this man is. And that's not for the Furniture Fair commercials, which are entertaining. But hey, I digress. We'll get to that later. Anyways, Nick, let's go ahead.
I mean, just growing up, I played offensive line pretty much my entire life, and just to have Anthony Munoz to look up to be able to look back and watch those replays of him playing, especially now having the technology that we have now to be able to review the game films that he used to play in, and just seeing the technique that he had, just the knowledge and the intelligence that he had blocking, not only reading what the defense was coming at him, be able to communicate that with his fellow linemen and to figure out, what needed to happen. I mean, he was the reason why they made it to the Super Bowl on offense. Okay, you had good quarterbacks. Yes, I'll give you that. You had good receivers. Yes, I'll give you that. Right, good running backs and good defense. But without Anthony Munoz, without that it factor on your offensive line, you don't have a chance. I mean, your offensive line makes or breaks a game, makes or breaks the time, whether or not your quarterback has time to make those decisions. Like you were saying, in the last game with Kansas City, the offensive line makes or breaks that game. Jake Browning, he might have had an open receiver to throw to. Who knows? He was getting his butt beat in. He's screaming like a chicken with his head cut off because God only knows where his head's at because someone's knocked it off already. Anthony Munoz was the it factor. You can't deny it. The guy was a great football player. On top of that, he was an absolutely great person in the community. Again, back to what the Bengals is all about. Being a part of the Bengals is all about. Being a part of Cincinnati, being immersed in the community. You couldn't have asked for a better role model for anybody that grew up playing offensive line. Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better role model just to just be that role model for your kid. The guy had great leadership, great offensive tackle. It doesn't matter where you put him on the field, he probably would have succeeded anyway. So can't say enough good things about him. I wish I saw him more on TV, to be honest with you, instead of Chris Collinsworth.
He does call the preseason radio. No, just TV. He does the preseason TV broadcast. So maybe
We need
there's
him.
something happening.
We need him on every game that the Bengals play as one of the commentators.
Yeah, I'd take that. Burnsy, let's back it up with some stats.
So we've got 11 Pro Bowls, 81 to 91, 9 first team All Pros, pretty much 81 to 90. Trying to see if there's a year that he did make it in
Phew.
the 80s. Yeah, good there. Rookie of the year, all first team, all rookie team, right? 1980. NFL top 100 all time team. 1991 Walter Payton Man of the Year. It wasn't Walter Payton Man of the Year award at that time, but it was just Man of the Year. I think Anthony Munoz, just the type of person that he is, the award could really be called Anthony Munoz Player of the Year or Man of the Year, excuse me. But there's that. Obviously, he's Pro Football Hall of Fame first team of all of 1980s team. Was the 1981 Offensive Player of the Year. When was the last time you heard an offensive tackle, let alone an offensive lineman, be an Offensive Player of the Year? And then trying to see what other stuff I had. He started in 184 games out of 193 career games. So there's that. And then my highlight for him is just who he was off the field, what made him the Man of the Year. The man loves to give back to the community, still gives back to Cincinnati with the Anthony Munoz Foundation. It really set the standard as to what being a Bengals player is all about, like Nick was saying. My favorite Munoz memory would definitely be in 2016 when the Cincinnati Pops did their 4th of July ceremony at the Coney Island in Riverbend. They did the Anthony Munoz Foundation, and they did a huge, what do you call those? Charity events, auctions, those kinds of stuff. And just seeing who he was and see how authentic he was in those opportunities really showed where his character lies. So always love having him around and being a part of this community. Casey?
Yeah, so you've hit the community aspect. The joking, the furniture fair stuff. Furniture fair is still quality furniture. I'm not pitching it out there. Maybe we get a sponsorship. But he did great work there. But in the community, he does lots of awesome things. And for old Bengals fans, especially season ticket holders, you'll remember a thing called the Bengals Luncheon. So my family had season tickets when the Bengals Luncheon still happened. And the year he made the Hall of Fame, I'd have to look at what year it is. I don't remember how old I was. I wasn't that old. I got to get his autograph, and I was literally awestruck. I've only been awestruck like that maybe one or two other times in my life meeting somebody. And it was just like, and I never saw the guy play. I mean, yeah, I was born before he stopped playing, but also little, I don't remember anything he did. So just hearing the stories my dad told, watching the old Bengals videos that we had at the house, he talked to you just like he would, like you're the most important person to him at that moment. I've had autographs from other people where they just kind of sign it, slip it across the table, move on. He's like, "Hey, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. Thanks for coming." Smiled at you, talked to you for a minute, didn't rush out. And just like I said, he's a great human being. I still got his autograph hanging up in my little man cave over here. And just, the fact that he wanted to stick around and still be part of the organization, he's still very active in the organization. That shows a lot about his character and how much the team means to him, how much the city means to him. So, yeah, there's the positive. Who Dey History. We'll keep going with positive Who Dey History. Zach's got an alibi.
Yep, I do. So you mentioned the year. It was 1998 that he made the Hall of Fame. And another thing about that that's interesting. So Pro Football Reference has a Hall of Fame monitor similar to baseball's WAR. The average for tackles to make it into the Hall of Fame is 95.5. Anthony Munoz was 155.53. So, yeah.
So
Let's
a
just
man
be
among
honest.
man among men there.
I mean, that's just part of his it factor, man. He was it at that position. He was the guy. You know, he's the guy that every offensive tackle ever aspired to be. I mean, he on the field, off the field, he had character, integrity, just all around. You know, that and the Anthony Munoz Foundation. You know, just a great foundation for the city. You couldn't ask for somebody better.
Absolutely. So we've been everywhere in this podcast. We've been off the rails, on the rails, real conversations, crazy topics coming out of nowhere. But yeah, Who Dey History, that was a good one. We're going to keep those topics going. So what you can look forward to in the off season, the next couple of episodes are going to be going through different positions, giving them an in-depth look, where the holes are, whether we should bring people back, whether we should let people go, do people need to move to different places, and who would be good people in free agency that we could slot in there to fill that void, and is it a realistic possibility? So that's the biggest thing we're going to be doing. There's going to be a few other just random topics here and there we're going to be touching on. But yeah, positional looks is going to be the biggest stuff we have coming up for you. We're going to have some good guests. I know we're reaching out right now, trying to get some cool people on the podcast. And once we do, we'll make sure we announce that, let you guys know when they're going to be on. Hopefully, we'll get a live episode here in not too much longer. But that's basically going to do it for us. I'll pass it around for final thoughts here. We'll go with Burns. You go first.
Man, YouTube needs some love, guys. If you watch us on YouTube, whether it's through a link that we post anywhere, whether it's Beacons, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the case may be, just go. If you like what we're doing, go hit that subscribe button for us. Just that way we can get the number count up, so that way we can start doing the live video feeds and things like that for you guys. And it makes it a lot easier when we're trying to bring individuals in. That's number one. Number two, Happy New Year. It's the second pod of the new year. I don't think I said it last week. Happy New Year. I wish you all nothing but great tidings and great joys and good blessings. Love your loved ones. Nick?
Of course. Follow up what Zach said. Happy New Year. I don't think that any of us said it the last podcast, but definitely happy blessings. Prayers for your families, and hope that everybody's blessed this year, and definitely love your families. Coming up, exciting stuff, talking about what the draft may hold, free agency, other topics that we definitely can discuss. Engage with us on our social medias. Give us your opinions. Let us know what you want to talk about and what you would like to hear us talk about. And definitely engage with us with the YouTube. Subscribe for us, so that we can do that live YouTube. That'll be huge, especially bringing on guests and any future podcasts to be able to help us out.
Yeah. So yes, thank you to all of you. Happy New Year. You guys did vote Trey as the most valuable player as well, so that was a unanimous by not just us as the host, but as everybody inside the fan base that voted in our poll. Yeah, keep talking about our polls. Keep getting in there. We are very interactive. If you want to talk about something, let us know. We'll talk about it. We usually have a good sense of humor, so we'll keep it light, keep it fun, not challenge it too much. We're not going to get into any kind of fights. That's just not what we do. It's a fun podcast. It's a fun group. Unless you come at Zach. I guess you come at Zach, Zach might fight you. I don't know.
He's going to throw hands, so you better watch out.
He's going to throw
ninja.
hands and face away.
He's going to Judy chop you.
Ninja
I'm nothing
genius.
if not a shameless promoter. So if you are trying to get your new year off to a great start, go check out Constructive Curiosity. Our whole series over there for this month is getting 2024 off to a great start. You can find that one at Constructive Curiosity on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or X as the kids call it. But yeah, Zach, just keep your hands in one place this time. Make it easier on me trying to edit this. It took like 25 minutes to get that right. So Zach, just do this. Just get them up. There you go. So we're going to
Mike
be
Wazowski me.
You can find us at YouTube at _Bengals. You can find us at Instagram at _Bengals. You can find us at X at Talking Bengals. And you can also find us on Facebook at Talking Bengals. We are Talking Bengals everywhere. So thank you, Zach. That'll make my life much easier than trying to go. Oh, my
It's like a
video
Christmas
editing
tree.
skills. Yeah, my video editing skills are lacking, so it took me a long time. But it's been fun. Thank you all for listening. We're going to be here just because there's no more football games that we give a crap about for the rest of the season. Doesn't mean we're not going to be here.
Are
So,
we going to talk about the playoffs?
It's baseball season.
Okay, just checking.
We don't care. Basically, as long as the AFC North doesn't win without the Bengals, I don't.
Go
or
Lions.
Chiefs. Yeah, I guess I'll say Lions, but I mean every single post I've seen this week, if you're like, who are you cheering for? None of them. I just don't care. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I just don't care.
I hope every stadium just goes down like Dark Knight Rises style. Bane just comes in and just wipes it out. That'd be cool.
As long as nobody gets hurt, that's all I care about.
Yeah, 100%. Like that would be terrible. That's me invoking terrorism. Don't come at me.
Do the
Don't
Bengals
sue us.
automatically? Is this going to be like a Cal Norton Jr. situation? It's how they get. So we're off the rails, Dang. We can't even end the episode. But it's going to be like Cal Norton Jr., where everybody else wrecks, and then the last two don't have it, and they're like, well, he's by default. So the Bengals are Super Bowl champions because every other team was unable to play. I'll buy that. I'll go for that. I'll take it. It's like Trevor Bauer getting a Cy Young in a year where there's 60 games. We'll take it because the Reds have nothing else to cheer about Cy Young was.
And then I'm going to end this with Bob Barker's famous words. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.
Yeah, we got to get off here. Who dey?
Who dey?
Who dey?